Good day to you all. We are going to be looking at the English Home Language November 2024 paper, the paper 1 that is out of 70 marks, and we wrote it for 2 hours today. Right, we are going to be sealing in, trying to see the skill that we're tested on. And as such, we need to understand that the skill must have been portrayed and displayed to show understanding in the comprehension, which is clear reading and understanding for you to get through the questions. The summary is for you to understand what is exactly wanted, and you take it out and then give it in your own words, language structures and conventions. And therefore, that's when we're looking at our visual literacy and our language editing skills. It was a fair paper, though it really demanded attention for you to be clear to know exactly what you're supposed to answer. And therefore, if you missed one question or was something in the question, it means that you could have got lost. So let's try and make sure that we don't rush the process, but we read for understanding, and then we are able to answer what exactly we have been asked. Let's go to section A, which was our comprehension passage, very relevant in today's era and world, because we are living in the modern world that has devalued genuineness in social settings. And I believe that is by David Seibert. Our title for the comprehension was The Era of Instant Gratification. We want things in the now, and we don't have time and patience to wait. All right, let's go to the comprehension. The youngest of our generations today have grown up in a world where too many things are easy. Fast food, fast cars, fast technology, you name it. People of this generation are still dependent on their parents, but after they achieve maturity, there is the temptation for continued dependency upon technology, especially socially. When we were young, we depended on our parents for different things, such as interactions with adults or writing a thank you card to a relative. From these experiences, we grew, and eventually we became skilled enough to do this independently and even to teach one another. Now, in social settings, there is the option to depend on technology. This could be the looking up of an email template to express thanks for a job offer, or it could be interacting with recruiters over social networking sites. This option has caused an overall dip in social adeptness. The mentality of quick and easy options has become so ingrained in the younger generations that the value of genuine socialness has been whittled away. Many people today confuse the terms time and effort. I have heard many a time that people do not have time to do something when they actually do not want to make the extra effort, like writing a professional email to a professor instead of an informal one-line demand. I have heard many a time, I only have a second to do this, or I need to do other things. I don't have time to spare for this. This is a symptom of the quick and easy mentality, because by allocating limited time to this task, you are removing all value and importance from it. This era, which has been titled the era of instant gratification, has caused different parasites to develop in our social world, such as shallow friendships, phone-on-the-table syndrome, and technological dependency. However, the most significant deficit is the lack of social genuineness. What should be explained about our current society are the reasons why the society has produced these results. Having grown up in the core of this era, it is very difficult to step outside of the issue and view its development. Why have we lost all connection to the standards, values, and mannerisms of the age before us? This is a question that we can answer individually and as a society. Is it because the age of technology has caused us to become pretentious and to discredit the opinions of our less technological savvy ancestors? Is it because we have humanized material things and given them greater power and influence than our elders? Or is it simply because we seek to continue the human race's progress on its road to greater efficiency? These questions are key points to reflect upon in our individual lives. This era is nothing more complex than a trial of human nature. We are being tested on how we will choose to live when offered an easy road at almost every point in life. I have interacted with my peers who have no ability whatsoever to understand why they would do something unnecessary. If we live our lives only doing the things that are necessary, are we truly living? That is just following a formula. However, these unnecessary things fuel our passion, commitment, creativity, and innovation. These virtues have been lost in many of the people today. It can be said that it is completely unnecessary to go out of your way to walk someone to class, but does that make it useless? To you, it has no direct concrete use, but to the recipient, the gesture is immensely powerful. The unnecessary things show true genuineness in your human connections. Simply nuances such as eye contact, active listening, and kind mannerisms are becoming scarcer as our era of instant gratification tears through our core values. It takes a great amount of maturity and awareness to accept this fact, and an even greater level of strength to take the steps towards restoring value to the facets of life that make us human, while using technology in moderation. We should not feel ashamed about a single thing mentioned in this article. These social issues are not something we should be faulted for, yet we should take responsibility for them. It is simply information, and we can choose to do it with what we want. The youngest generations of this era have been dealt a poor hand. Growing up in the technological age has conditioned them to do many of these things. These are not conscious choices. It is our responsibility to resist the influences of this era of instant gratification and discover true independence as human beings. This is how we can recreate value. We were given a glossary about adeptness, which is a skill ingrained, deeply embedded, or innate, pretentious, which is trying to give the appearance of great importance. Now, let's go and look at the demands of the questions and try and see exactly what would have been expected. Let's go to text B quickly. Text B was a cartoon which had 4 frames. So it came to today as a visual in the form of a cartoon and not just a picture. Instant mashed potatoes, minute rice, microwavable meals, digital cameras, faxes, emails, online news sources. With society's desire to fulfill instant gratification, who has time for patience? Can't you go any faster? That's the patient in the cab. Right. It's cab is an Americanism for taxi. Right. It says provide a definition of the word gratification in the title. Our title said the era of instant gratification. And now they're saying we should provide a definition. I believe in this instance, we're talking about pleasure, we're talking about satisfaction. So, and it was a 1 mark, so we just needed to give a definition. And I believe any of those would have been applicable in this case. All right. We are going to go for pleasure. We are also going to go for satisfaction. Okay, refer to the opening sentence of paragraph 1. It says, and paragraph 1 said, the youngest of our generations today have grown up in a world where too many things are easy. Fast food, fast cars, fast technology, you name it. And then it says, what is the writer's opinion about the younger generation? I believe that's what we're looking at today. And as such, we can talk about various angles about it. I believe privileged is and one of the words that can come in. And I believe spoiled, entitled, materialistic, any of those could have come in handy. So it was still a 1 mark as well. Remember, it was the opening questions, and therefore the mark allocation was very fair for us, and therefore it was the writer's opinion. When he calls the young people, I believe he mentioned the issue of that they have many things for them are easy. They have everything. when it comes to food, cars, technology, you name it, anything is there. And therefore, that's why I'll talk about privileged. I believe we'll just put a few. Entitled also would be relevant in that instance. I believe we talked about spoiled, dependent, on technology. So as such, any of those came in handy. And then we go to 1.3. It says, explain the difference between the two generations as expressed in paragraph 1. I need to go back a little bit to take the two major sentences about the older generation and the younger one. It said, people of this generation are still dependent. I believe we're going to put a start there as we are talking about the young people on their parents. But after they achieve maturity, there is a temptation for continued dependency. I believe we're going to go here as well, upon technology, especially socially. And then the older generation, he says, when we were younger, we depended on our parents for different things. We are definitely going here, such as interactions with adults or writing a thank you card to a relative. From these experiences, we grew and eventually we became skilled enough to do this independently. Those are our key words. So as a result, the two things that are coming in is that when it comes to the younger generation, there is a double dependence on adults and also on technology. It means that they depend on their parents and then they still continue depending on technology. But we have a difference with the older generation because it says they did depend on their parents and then they grew now independent and learned things solely on their own, leading to their independence. So when we're coming in, we do not have independence in the young children. The independence is only in the older generation, and that's where we have the difference between the two, whereby we are saying the young generation has a double dependency on parents and on technology, and therefore they never gain independence. The older generation, they depended on their parents and then used what they learned from their parents now to grow independently and learn things on their own or teach each other. So we had that difference between the two generations. Refer to paragraph 2. Explain what is meant by the value of genuine socialness has been whittled away in the context of the paragraph. That is from paragraph 2. And paragraph 2 stated that now in social settings, there is an option to depend on technology. This could be the looking up of an email template to express thanks for a job offer, or it could be interacting with recruiters over social networking sites. This option has caused an overall dip in social adeptness. The mentality of quick and easy options has become so ingrained in the younger generations that the value of genuine socialness has been whittled away. And therefore, our question wanted us to go to the meaning of value of genuine socialness has been whittled away. And some of the things we can talk about is that the skills to cope socially are no longer there. So as a result, technology is the one that is giving or showing people how to do basic things. They can no longer be able to create their own or start their own or do it genuinely from what they want to say. So, which means they are not using their own creativity. So it means that the coping skills, social coping skills are no longer there. People want to be shown by technology how to just do the basic things of what to say and how to say it to the person that you have to talk to. So those are our 2 marks. They discuss the point that the writer is making is 1.5 by repeating. The keyword is repetition. I have heard many a time. I believe this is emphasis that it's not his own opinion. So it means that it is coming from someone else or from others, which means it is not his own words or his own opinion. So I believe that was a repetition to emphasize that it's coming from someone else and another source or other sources. And therefore, it's become now something that has been said over and over, and as such, it's been repeated. Choose the most appropriate response. The writer's attitude in paragraph 4. Let's quickly go to paragraph 4 and trying to choose the attitude from the tone of how we say things. This era, which has been titled the era of instant gratification, has caused different parasites to develop in our social world, such as shallow friendships, phone on the table syndrome, and technological dependency. However, the most significant deficit is the lack of social genuineness. What should be explained about our current society are the reasons why the society has produced these results. We are supposed to choose the most appropriate from the list of choices provided. Okay, our choices are having insincere, critical, sarcastic, understanding. I believe I'm going to go with critical. His diction has harsh judgment, which is what we are here on 1.62 as the reason. When it says one example of diction in your response, I believe when it says shallow, what did he say? I believe he talked of shallow, this one. Paragraph 4, he talked of shallow friendships. I believe that's what we're taking. Fall on the table syndrome. As such, those are the 2 that I felt different parasites. So as a result, parasites is also coming in. So I felt the diction is harsh, and as such, in it being harsh, it brings out his feelings, and therefore his attitude for me is critic. He's criticizing what has come through and giving the symptoms of what we're facing through that harsh diction that he gave. So definitely I am on critical. Explain the writer's intention in using a series of rhetorical questions in paragraph 5. Several were used, I believe. Why have we lost all connection to the standards, values, and mannerisms of the age before us? He also talked about, is it because we have humanized material things and given them greater power and influence than our elders? Is it because the age of technology discredits the opinions of our less technology savvy ancestors? So as a result, he used a series of rhetorical questions, and I believe we can account the use of rhetorical questions and talk about the issue of it's a technique that he uses for the reader to think deeply and reflect. That's one of the things that we can start with. For deep thought, we're going to go to deep thought. For deep thought and self-reflection. So that's one of them. Number 2, it can force the reader to focus on the various issues raised, asked or questioned, and as a result, they can draw their own conclusion based on where they fit on their own experience as well. So as a result, this was to force the reader out, and as a result, now the deep thought is on the person himself reflecting themselves and actually coming up with an answer now based on where they are found wanting and at fault under those questions. Discuss the paradox in the argument presented in paragraph 6. Okay, let's go to paragraph 6 quickly. Paragraph 6 stated that the error is nothing more complex than a trial of human nature. We are being tested on how we will choose to live when offered an easy road at almost every point in life. I have interacted with my peers who have no ability whatsoever to understand why they will do something unnecessary. If we live our lives only doing the things that are necessary, are we truly living? That is just following a formula. However, these unnecessary things fuel our passion, commitment, creativity, and innovation. These virtues have been lost in many of the people today. It can be said that it is completely unnecessary to go out of your way to walk someone to class, but does that make it useless? To you, it has no direct concrete use, but to the recipient, the gesture is immensely powerful. I believe our paradox is coming from the issue that having the easy way out, and we do things that we don't feel are necessary, means that we might not be living for and doing what we are supposed to do or want to do. I believe the paradox is in doing things that are necessary. Are we truly living? And therefore that contradicts what he has said. Those are necessary things, he says. They give us passion, commitment, creativity, and innovation. And now they give us a purpose. Yet in the same paragraph, it's talked that they have no purpose and there is no need for them to do it because they are necessary. But it now makes them necessary again. And as a result, calls them now, give us a reason for doing things as he listed: passion, commitment, creativity, and innovation. To what extent does the concluding paragraph support the subheading? The modern world has devalued genuineness in social settings. Motivate your response, it said. Okay, the last paragraph, it says, we should not feel ashamed about a single thing, he says, mentioned in this article. These social issues are not something we should be faulted for. I believe our title of the paragraphs of the article say the era of instant gratification. So I believe when it comes to the final paragraph, he actually was not judgmental, and I believe it was an encouragement to us to accept, embrace, and take accountability of this new age we're living in, where we want things done simple and easily for us. So as a result, that now is the embracing part. I believe he says we must accept it, we must embrace it. He's encouraging us. And he's also giving us advice now that we should now find a way to make sure that we do not take the era of instant gratification too far, and therefore we should be able to find ourselves within that journey. And as such, independence is some of the things it called for. So it does support. The question says to what extent. It is to a big extent, a large extent, supporting the subheading, because we are living in that era now, and that era is part of us now. We have to embrace it, we have to accept it, but we must find a common ground of not losing ourselves in this era. And therefore it means that we must know what is necessary to give to instant gratification and what is not. Let's go to text B, which was the cartoon. How does the list given by the cab driver in frames 1 and 2 relate to instant gratification? I believe he listed the things that are easy to do. Food. He talked about food. When he says instant mashed potatoes, minute rice, microwavable meals. Frame 2, he talked about technology, digital cameras, instant photos, faxes, instant communication, email, instant communication, online news sources. It means that you're getting the news at the same time they're happening. And now the question is, says, how does the list given by the cab driver in frames 1 and 2 relate to instant gratification. I believe those are a list of things that we want now at the tip of our fingertips, and because they are readily available. So as a result, it means that we want them instantly. We want them at the same time. We want to eat at the same time. We open the cupboard, we open the fridge, and therefore it means that we want what is readily available, and we will not wait for 2 hours for something to be cooked. We will not wait for 2 hours for the photos to be cleaned out, and therefore whatever processes they must go. We don't want to wait. So now we're talking about instant gratification, because readily available food, readily available technological means and modes of communication, having them at the tip of our fingertips. In the context of the cartoon suggests why the driver's facial expression remains unchanged. When you say he remains unchanged, he is not phased. Let's look at him closely. He's not phased by all the things that are instant, that he lists. And as a result, what he says is someone's desire and wants, and therefore it means that he is not moved by any of these things. He's still using the old cab in the first place, which is the taxi, and as such, it means that he's still one of the patient ones who will drive, and there's time to do something. He does not want any instant car whereby he doesn't have to drive. So I believe he's unmoved and unfazed by the need of instant gratification and wanting things instantly. With close reference to frame 4, comment on the satirical message he conveyed in the cartoon. Frame 4, I believe, is the last one, whereby who has time for patience is the question he asks himself in thought. And unfortunately, the passenger in the cab asks him, can't you go any faster? And as a result, that's where the answer is for the question that he asked himself. One of the things we should touch on is that the satire is brought about by just the person who is transporting himself is not patient. He wants instant gratification even in being transported from point A to B, yet the driver has so much patience and needs the patience to deal with the road and the traffic, and the customer is having short temper at the driver's speed and wants him to move at a faster pace or increase the speed. And the driver of the cab is not part of the instant gratification era, and therefore still has patience and time and will move and transport the person at the right pace for the driving that is doing. Refer to both text A and text B. Critically discuss the extent to which text B illustrate the writer's view in paragraph 7. I believe in paragraph 7, some of the things touched in paragraph 7 were simply nuances, such as eye contact, active listening, kind mannerisms. They becoming scarcer as our era of instant gratification tears through our core values. And then he talked about take the steps towards restoring value to the facets of life that make us human. I'm on the facets of life. The simple facets of life that they talked about in the advertisement is making food, sending communication, and email effects, and as such simple basic modes of human skills, which are touched on in paragraph 7. And those are the things called for that we need to restore, the facets of life that make us human, and therefore we should use technology in moderation. Instead of us cooking food, instead of us eating instant food, we can cook for ourselves because we are capable as humans. That is what making us human, because we are able to cook our own food. So as such, that is the the common denominator between text B and text A, which was the discussion you're supposed to bring. We're going to go to section B, which is our summary. A lot of my learners cried about this one. Let me try and find out and see what is it that was the problem. It says text C discusses why people choose happiness over contentment. Summarize in your own words why contentment is preferable. Okay, they even highlighted for you. I believe people were supposed to be going ahead and saying contentment is preferable because it does this. That would have been the answers you were looking for. Happiness versus contentment. What is the real goal? Happiness is a temporary experience characterized by positive thinking and laughter. Contentment is a feeling accompanied by satisfaction and gratitude. Unlike happiness, contentment lasts indefinitely. We're going to talk about the first two sentences of the passage. I believe those are definitions, so we are not taking them. But I believe when we're coming to talk about when saying why contentment is preferable, I believe one of the things is that it lasts indefinitely. So that was our first key there. But why do we pursue happiness over contentment? A Google search on how to be happy yields more than 7 billion results. However, how to be content produces 18 million. This indicates society's lust for a happiness high, the euphoria gained from excitement, and demonstrates a lack of interest in the calmer, longer-lasting feeling of contentment. So as a result, one of the key areas that we can take points is why contentment is preferable is that it is calmer, it is longer lasting. So that can have been a point. One possible theory explaining this is the concept of delayed gratification. We like to receive immediate results for undertakings, it says, we like to receive immediate results for our undertakings. For example, we want paychecks to arrive in our bank accounts immediately. However, individuals who are willing to wait for rewards are more content than those who expect immediate gratification. So as a result, I believe that's something else that we can talk about. That's another point that we could have raised. Waiting for rewards makes you more content. Another theory is that individuals are aiming too high by always striving for happiness. Is it possible to remain in a euphoric state of happiness at all the time? Do challenges not help us appreciate happier moments? This theory suggests that when people set lower, reasonable expectations, they will achieve contentment. I believe that's our point as well. When people set lower, reasonable expectations. So as a result, that's our next point. Yet another theory defines contentment as the absence of greed and materialism, it says. Some individuals see life as a competition and aspire for the largest income, fanciest cars, and most luxurious holidays. These people experience happiness by winning, while losing can feel catastrophic, it says. Alternatively, people who are satisfied with what they have find a baseline contentment of gratitude. I believe that's where we are going. A sentiment lacking. People who are satisfied, we are coming here with what they have, believe that's where we are, a baseline contentment of gratitude. These theories point to the same path. We need to reflect on what makes us truly happy and recognize long periods of contentment. Although it is natural for everyone to want to be happy at all time, perhaps there is safety in a world of warm, peaceful contentment. I believe we have our point there. While it is unusual to recommend aiming lower, and even though there is joy in the excitement of happiness, the long-lasting, meaningful feeling of contentment comes with purpose and resilience. So as a result, I believe those were our points. And let's count. We had 1, 2, 3. We had 4. We had 5. We had 6. Okay. I had 7. So as a result, that's what we got there, I believe. So as such, that's where we went to, and we'll see whether there'll be more coming out in the memo discussions that will happen, and we'll see if there could have been more at that time. All right, let's go to our section C. Study the advertisements, text D and E below and answer the set questions. Hashtag play your part. It says, inspiring excellence through sports. Sport continues to be a driving force that inspires our people and positions South Africa positively on the global stage, it says. Be a part of a team that strives to make South Africa an inspiration to the world. All right. All right, let's go to our questions for advertisement. The text, we had two advertisements for this exam. So as a result, let's go and see. What is the purpose of the slogan? It says, what is the purpose of the slogan? Play, hashtag, play your part. I believe it is a trend. One of the things is that it is a trend. The purpose of the slogan is to encourage and motivate people to be part of the trend of globalizing the sport, and as such, being part of a big movement. So as a result, it is the purpose, motivate, encourage, call people to action. I believe any of those to become part of that movement of being part of taking the sports to a bigger platform and stage globally. Refer to the written text, inspiring excellence through. I believe this is what we were looking at. This one. This is where we are. We were taking it from here. With reference to one technique and one example, comment on how the advertiser promotes the campaign. I think I'm going to go for emotive language or verbs, diction. I believe I'll take diction. It said one example. There were several I think I saw. Inspiring is one of them. I believe driving force. I believe inspires, strives. Any of those were applicable. And I believe what they did was to bring awareness to the benefit of sports and what it does. And as such, I believe that's where we could have brought in. Someone could have used in the bold font in the verb inspiring, which was to capture the reader's attention to the bigger picture on what sports does or the impact of sports. Any of those, I think, came in. Choose the most appropriate response from the list of options provided. Sport continues to be a driving force that inspires our people and positions South Africa positively on the global stage. For us to know what type of a sentence it is, I always try and dissect and say, what is the main clause? How many main clauses do we have? I think I'm seeing one. Sport continues to be a driving force is a main clause for me. That inspires, I believe, is a subordinate clause. So if we have a main clause and a subordinate clause, it becomes a complex sentence. So it's a C. Rewrite the following clause as a statement that includes a subject. Be part of the team. You can't be part of a team. You must be part of a team. As long as the subject becomes you, I think we are all on the same page. All right. Let's go to our second advert for the day. We rise together for our nation's pride. Hashtag always rising. And now it says, consider text D and E. All right. In your opinion, which visual image is more effective to promote the campaign? All right. This one was an opinion question based on what we see. We are seeing cricket. I believe we are seeing cricket there. Yes, I believe we're seeing cricket on this one. But let's go to the other one and see what we had. Maybe that could have derived people. I believe the images were of different sports, tennis, gymnastics, whatever they are. Golf is there. And, you know, various sports are depicted here. Boxing somewhere there. So I believe it was an opinion. You could have said text D. is more effective than text E, or text E is more effective than text D. That would have been opinion as long as it's substantiated. Personally, I'm saying text D because it's depiction of different sports, and therefore I believe text D also touched on a global reach, taking South African sports to a global level and platform. But I believe text E only goes for one sport, which is cricket, and also national pride for just one sport. So for myself, I'm going with text D. It was more effective to promote the campaign, which would actually lead sports to something bigger and not just for one sport and one major ground, which is just nationally, because I'm seeing nationally there. Let's go to question 4. Question 4 says, study the cartoon. I believe we had for better or for worse, it says. And I believe characters, they called the young lady Elizabeth. The other character, a young boy, Elizabeth's friend, and her mother and her father. What is said here? It says, gosh, Elizabeth, altogether you got 27 Valentines. Is that all? Mom, why do they always show love with a heart? Why not with something else? You mean like a liver or a spleen? Uh-huh. Well, maybe it's because when you love someone, you feel it right here. And when that someone is far away, that feeling becomes sort of a deep ache. Well, what were you and Mom discussing so seriously? She was telling me about love. And what does your mom say about love? She says it's a pain. All right, let's go to the questions. And it says, what does Elizabeth's response? Is that all reveal about her feelings? I believe that's dissatisfaction. She wanted more. So as a result, disappointment, dissatisfaction. I'm seeing any of those are coming. It's a 1 mark. So I believe is that all the questioning to say there's nothing more is disappointment or dissatisfaction. Suggest why Elizabeth's friend does not respond to a question. I believe it's the confusion of why she's not happy or her lack of enthusiasm for the 27 Valentines that she got and the hearts that she got. So the friend is confused and surprised why Elizabeth is showing lack of enthusiasm and not showing happiness to the amount of the Valentines that she got, the high amount of Valentines that she got. Discuss how the visual cue in either frame 5 or frame 6 conveys the mother's attitude towards love. I believe we're here. We're going to talk about the mother's hand is over her chest or her heart to emphasize her genuine expression of love. And I believe I'm seeing a passionate attitude towards love. I'm seeing a passionate attitude. And as such, refer to frames 9 and 10 was 4.3. Critically discuss how the interaction between the father and the daughter creates humor in this cartoon. I believe the irony is that the father was expecting, I will call it a more forthcoming and forthcoming report about the mother's expression of love, as he is the one who's showing love to her. But the mother's answer, according to the daughter, is that the mother is disappointed. She does not see the love as beautiful. Instead, she doesn't show delight in the love she receives. So now that's where the irony lies in the father's expectation of the answer and the mother's and the child's response of what the mother expressed love as. All right. And I believe it says replace got in frame 1 with a more suitable verb. I believe we could have talked of received. You got 27 Valentines. You received 27 Valentines. Provide a synonym. My apologies. It says provide a synonym. That was our last language question under question 4. Provide a comparative form of seriously, and I believe it's more seriously there. It's definitely going to be more seriously. That's our comparative form. Let's go to question number 5. Learners said it wasn't difficult as they expected because it's always been their challenging Question in paper 1. So I believe we're at a reverse psychology this time, where learners have been thriving in the summary, but now today say they struggled in the summary. And then now they came to question 5 and said, yes, I breezed through. Why a life of travel is worth the price. A relatively small investment in travel now yields major returns for the rest of your life. If you're planning a trip, one of the first things to figure out is how much money you can spend. Every penny you spend on travel is an investment in yourself and an investment in the world around one. To start with, traveling expands your social connections to different people. Connecting to various other cultures gives you a more well-rounded perspective on the world, and that perspective can positively impact your life. Travel has some pretty amazing health benefits too. Creating a work-life balance through travel helps lower your stress, and a lifetime of lower stress reduces your risk for stroke, diabetes, depression, and Alzheimer's. While you grow with travel, you're also improving the world around you, especially if you follow ethical travel practices. You are helping to create jobs. 1 in 10 jobs on the planet are in the travel and tourism industry. If you buy local, your money is also rippling throughout the local economy. So when you are spending money on travel, you're investing in an expanded worldview, new friendships, a healthier life, a happier life, and importantly, a better world. Refer to line 1, which says a relatively small investment in travel now yields major returns. They wanted a synonym for returns. And I believe one of the most popular when I was discussing with my learners was gain, was profit. So as a result, I'm going to leave it there as well. Rewrite the expression figure out in standard English. We're expecting something like this. I believe we are happy that we received things that we've been practicing for so long. And I believe it's find a solution. After a lot of thought, that's a standard English. And then it says, correct the pronoun error in paragraph 1. I believe we were here. The agreement is that it says every penny you spend on travel is an investment in yourself and an investment in the world around one. That became a pronoun error, and I believe it's around you. We have to maintain the same pronoun that have been given to us throughout the passage, throughout that paragraph 1, I believe. And then 5.4 says traveling expands your social connections to different people. And then it says rewrite the above sentence fragment in the passive voice. I believe we'll go with your social skills. Your social connections, my apologies. Your social connections to different people. To different people are expanded by traveling. Rewrite the above sentence, and therefore there we go. Remove the redundancy in paragraph 2. Okay, let's quickly go to paragraph 2. To start with, traveling expands your social connections to different people. Connecting to various other cultures gives you a more well-rounded perspective on the world. Okay. Various other cultures, connecting to various cultures, connecting to other cultures. I believe I'm coming here. Various and other. Okay, let's go on and see. And that perspective can positively impact your life. Travel has some pretty amazing pretty and amazing. You have some pretty amazing health benefits too. Let's go on and see. Let's be sure now. It says creating a work-life balance through travel helps lower your stress. And a lifetime of lower stress reduces your risk for stroke, diabetes, depression, and Alzheimer's, which is our redundancy now. It's Pretty amazing. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We're going to remove this one. It's definitely pretty amazing. I'm on this one now. It's pretty amazing. Aha. It's this too. That's our redundancy there. That was too close. That's pretty amazing. All right. We go on to give the function of the hyphen in line 8. Line 8, I believe it says creating a work life. Oh, we know this by now. It's to create a compound word. This one doesn't change. It is to create a compound word. While you grow with travel, you also improving the world around you, especially, my apologies, if you follow ethical travel practices. I believe our word is there. Explain why the word practices is used incorrectly in the sentence. I believe this word practices is a verb. So as a result, it becomes wrong because it means to engage. It's a verb that means to engage. But according to this, we have to replace with the correct word. And I believe it's practices, which is this one. Refer to lines 12 to 13. You are helping to create jobs. 1 in 10 jobs on the planet are in the travel and tourism industry. Correct the Concord error in the above sentence. You are helping to create jobs. 1 in 10 jobs in the planet are. It's supposed to be is. Thank you. Replace the dash with a suitable conjunction. I believe this is the one that they are talking about without changing the meaning of the sentence. You are helping to create jobs as 1 in 10 jobs on the planet are in the travel and tourism industry. You are helping to create jobs because 1 in 10 jobs, so any of those were applicable. That was our language editing and brought us to 70 marks. All right, thank you. We have come to the end of our session for English Home Language Paper 1, the November 2024 session. A good day to you all. We are going to be looking at the English Home Language November